Hello, Albuquerque.
In those days, it was 41, so there was a lot of racism.
I'm a Boeing 737 first officer.
I did a lot of research and I recommend everyone do the same.
And now suddenly you're addicted,
Right.
literally to heroin.
Where were you born? I was born in Cambridge, England.
Both my parents were drug addicts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories. Today, I will be your host, Chase Lejeune, as it is a very special episode, and we're going to be interviewing for the second time now our regular host, James Grave Brown. James, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody.
So, it's been a while since we've last heard from you.
Yeah. Well, I guess at the time of this, it's been quite some time.
It's been a hot minute, and last time we had Sarah in the hot seat asking you all the questions, and then this time we're going to have me.
Cool.
So, I guess for starters here, let's get a little bit into more of your recent history. You talked a little bit about your past in the last episode, so
sure.
Let's talk more recent history. What's going on in the life of James Grave Brown?
Same old. I'm working. I'm trying to juggle a podcast with 2 YouTube channels and help people and build cars and do all the things, and it's honestly a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, you're quite the busy man trying to fit all that into your schedule.
That's sort of an understatement, but yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, a lot of this is passions. It's what I enjoy doing, so, you kind of got to sacrifice time for things that are important to you, and I feel like everybody does that in their own little way.
Well, they say that if you aren't having fun, then you're working, and nobody wants to work, right?
Right. And I guess technically I'm working, but again, like you just said, I'm having fun doing what I'm doing, so it's not really considered work. I mean, what work for me is what I get paid to do.
No, that's great. Hopefully at this point in time, the podcast is making you a little bit of dosh on the side.
That would be cool, but none of my channels, I'm sort of guilty of not working hard enough, but part of the reason that none of my channels are making any money at the current time is because, I don't push a lot. I'm not on social media. I'm not on TikTok. I don't get my name out there as much as some of the bigger channels do, so it's kind of my own fault, but also I'm not out here to make $1 million. I'm doing this again because this is what I like to do, and if you want to watch what I like to do, that's cool, and if you don't, that's cool too.
Well, and certainly, you're working multiple channels so early on in your career on these social media sites as well. Whereas a lot of these other people have gotten either TikTok or YouTube or whatever famous and then branched out from there.
Right. And also a lot of those bigger, YouTube stars have teams of people behind them who who do have the time to post on all these different social medias, and they've got editors and they've got, co-hosts and stuff like that. I can't in good conscience ask people to give that much of their time up, and I don't have anybody editing for me. I don't have, Sarah helps a lot when she can, but she's also got a full-time job, so she's busy as shit, and that's actually why she was the initial recorder of my first episode. But we're trying some new shit today, me and you. And obviously you're gonna see in the videos that earlier we did a housekeeping episode, but it would be really nice and convenient to have a whole team, but unfortunately, I can't ask that of people, and I can't afford to pay people, so, it leaves me to do it all myself.
Well, and you have such a strange schedule with work, too, that
I really do.
It's hard enough to try and get people over so that you can have this time to communicate with them and have them on the show, and then...
Right, and then I
trying to line up everything with having folks over to help you edit and all of that stuff would be problematic.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you can't pay them. So.
Try not to let my hobbies or my friend time interfere with mine and Sarah's time, because we get... Our time is so limited, every... other month we get the weekends together, and that's the only time that she and I can actually spend together, because during the weeks, her schedule and mine, by the time I get home, I have to go to bed within an hour or so to get up the next morning for work, so we don't get a lot of time together during the weeks. So really the weekends that I'm off is the only time we have together. So when the month that I'm working weekends, like we don't really get a whole lot of time that entire month. So when I have the weekends off, I try to reserve Saturday and Sunday for me and her time.
Yeah,
So that eliminates a lot of time that I would have open for guests and friends and stuff like that. But I mean, and that's fine with me. I have no problem with that. Like I actually enjoy my time with Sarah as much as I enjoy hanging out with friends or doing my hobbies and stuff like that, if not more. So, you know, like I have no gripes against giving up my weekends for me and Sarah time, because I really appreciate that time. But also, again, it doesn't work with a lot of people's schedules, so it's this is all a juggle, man. It's all hard to figure out and navigate, but I'm doing the best I can.
Your hair hasn't gone completely gray just yet, so
It's getting there.
yeah. Well, so you bring up a great point, right? I mean, I've certainly been in a few long distance relationships, which are kind of similar in the sense that like you're
Sure.
not always with the person that you
Yeah,
want
I
to be
can
with,
see that.
everything like that. And even my work schedule and the hobbies that I have, right, they come into the time I have to balance my time wisely, like you say, so that
Right.
I'm spending time with my wife, happy life,
Absolutely.
but also getting out and doing the things that I enjoy.
Right.
But you know, how has that been on your relationship? Because you and Sarah have been together for quite some time now, and
Yeah.
your schedule, although it's kind of never truly been like a 9 to 5 schedule, it's certainly been a lot easier in the past for you to spend time with your wife.
Yeah. Honestly, going back to if I was to ever work a normal 9 to 5 schedule, that would be probably more strenuous on our relationship, because that gives us even more limited time together, because it would just be the evenings and weekends. But it's also like kind of balanced, because it would be every weekend, and it would be more than just an hour, or I'm sorry, every evening, and more than just an hour after coming home, and then every weekend. So, you know, it's kind of it's good and it's bad. I totally got off topic. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're perfectly on topic. You know, the question is, of course, like how has
How does it reflect?
how have you
affected?
how is your relationship? How is having
Oh,
these strange?
we're great. She's very supportive of me, and I try to be as supportive of her. Unfortunately, I'm not as and I'm not being self-deprecating. Like, this is legitimate facts backed up by our history of our relationship. But I'm not as smart, caring, or supportive of her as she is of me, and I try to be mindful of that, and I try to like make myself more of what she deserves in that regard. But like, for instance, in the past, she's done things for me for my birthday that I would have never thought of to do for her. Like, just gotten super creative and just gone way out of her way for and it's not that I wouldn't want to do those things, it's just I'm not creative enough in that way to think of things to do for her. But yeah, overall our relationship's really good. I'm super happy with her. I kind of feel the same way her with me. I mean, yeah, of course I stress her out, but I'm sure all husbands do that with their wives.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we have a good relationship. She's very understanding. We make a really, really good team, because we both work for the same goals, towards the same goals. But again, she gives a little bit more on her end so that I can do my hobbies and my bullshit, which is super. Maybe I take it for granted sometimes, but I hope she knows that I'm super appreciative of it.
I'm sure she does. You know, as much as I guess I'll put myself in your shoes as well.
Sure.
You know, I was just talking about how my hobby time kind of gets in the way of my time with my wife every now and then.
Yeah, how does that work with you guys?
Yeah, so very similarly to you, but I guess more of a typical schedule. I work an hour and 40 minutes away from where I live, and so
Further than me, as a matter of fact.
yeah, and so working the typical Monday through Friday with every other Friday off. You know, I spend typically a lot of time during the week with my wife, and then a lot of my hobby time ends up taking up a lot of the weekend time. I think the best way that we make it work so far is I constantly remind myself, as I'm sure you do, that like, you know, hey, I've spent a lot of time away from my wife this week. Maybe I need to reel that back in. And real early on in our relationship too, we had to go to some couples counseling. And so there we kind of really learned to communicate really well with each other. And
Oh, that's
so
good. That's great.
If either of us has an issue that's arising because of any of these things, we have that capability to let the other one know and to sit down and work it out. So.
Well, I 100%. That's really respectable. I appreciate that. And Sarah and I've never had to do like a marriage counseling or anything. We've never gotten that bad to that point. I mean, maybe early on in our relationship we fought a lot, but it was all, dumb stuff. We were much younger and much more carefree, I guess. But again, we've made a good team over the years. We've learned each other's quirks and are perfectly content with them. And I don't know. I feel like, again, not to self-deprecate, but I feel like I'm the annoying one in the relationship, and she's had to learn to deal with me. And she's just a saving grace. So I greatly appreciate her, and I truly, she's my best friend, and I enjoy spending all the time with her that I can. So, a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of couples, and I'm not, by no means, I don't know the dynamics of your relationship with your wife, but I know that a lot of my friends and their wives, just any chance they get to get away from each other, they do. They'll take advantage of it. But Sarah and I are kind of the opposites. We're like, any chance we get to hang out with each other is the time we're going to definitely take. And again, that kind of puts a strain on my time with my friends and my hobby time, but I would give up all of that friendship time and hobby time if it meant I could spend more time with Sarah. So I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly content with that. I enjoy that time. We have a good time. We go do all kinds of fun shit together that we both enjoy, and again, she's my best friend, so I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's very interesting, right? Because there's kind of been like a shift in the marriage dynamic over the years, I would say.
Sure.
A lot of the older generation, and this is no disrespect to them.
No.
But, a lot of times the older generation was told, like, you guys are going to get married, then you're going to be together.
Yeah.
And even if things aren't necessarily working out that great between them, they're together.
Stick it out, right.
And so I think that mentality of, we need time apart from each other has kind of formed in a lot of the older generation because of that.
Sure.
And it's quite different, like you're saying, with a lot of the newer generation. Like we crave that time with our significant others a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's just, I guess that's just an interesting dynamic shift. But on that note too, whenever I started dating my wife and stuff, I started spending less time with my friends and everything like that.
Yeah.
And very much similar to your shoes, where it's like, people were like, oh, well, why are you hanging out with her so much and not us? And then it kind of became the thing of like, I stopped getting invited to things as often and stuff like that.
Yeah, I went through a similar thing with the beginning of our relationship where, I was taking a lot of time to spend with Sarah and getting away from my friends. And then I kind of, for a period, resented her for it and kind of blamed it on her, that this is what you're doing. You're making me stay away from my friends. And then, in the long run, when you think about things over time, you're not going to spend forever with your friends. Yeah,
right.
It's great time. It's fun. You do dumb shit. But, I mean, not to be blunt, but your friends aren't going to get you laid. Your friends aren't going to be there to comfort you when you're down. Like, your friends aren't going to get your back if you go to jail. Your friends aren't going to cook and clean for you or help you through a hard time or take care of you when you're sick.
Yeah.
So at some point, I think it's a maturity thing. You got to realize what you have in another person and appreciate that for, this is my other half. This is my person.
Yes.
I'm not going to make this alone, and my friends sure as fuck aren't going to provide what this person can provide for me. And so, at some point, I just had to come to apologize to her for being that person, because it's wrong to be like, you're doing this to me, you're separating me and my friends, when in reality it was probably internal, that I was subconsciously separating myself from my friends to bring myself closer to her.
Well, and that's such an interesting thing as well, because, being that we are as close as we are with our significant others, we have the comfort level with them.
Yeah.
To really tear into them about our own insecurities or like issues that we're having or things like that. And you're right. Like, our friends, we aren't really as critical with them all the time as we are with our significant others or even ourselves. And so, just I guess that, one thing that my wife and I definitely learned from the couples counseling, and I'm not trying to sell you on it or anything like that, just kind of like you
Whatever
guys are,
works, man.
what I'm saying is you guys are kind of already picking up on those aspects, is that, you do communication is key. And,
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So.
And Sarah, throughout the years, and she'll self-admittedly, I don't know if I should say it's, her call, it's her story, but she has grown as a person and as a spouse, and I mean, even before we were married, she like on her own terms. Nobody's had to tell her about her behaviors or her quirks or what she's doing or how she feels about things. She recognizes shit on her own. Like, she's very fucking mature. It blows me away because I try to be that. I strive to do that. I strive to recognize the things that I'm fucking up on or the things that I could use improvement on myself. And I never see it, but she's said shit to me in the past, like, I do this and I'm not proud of it and I want to fix it. And I'm like, holy fuck, I've never said that to myself or to another person.
Yeah. And then it makes you kind of have that.
That's me.
And then it makes you have that kind of self-reflection, right? Like,
yeah, so I look internally and I'm like, well, fuck, you know what? Now that you say that, it's sort of setting a good example, because then I see it and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm doing this and I really don't like it, and I should probably work on that myself too. It's crazy. It's just like this a learning experience. I learned from her a lot, and I would like to hope that it's in some ways that I teach her as well. But yeah, I think that's part of what makes us a really good team too. So
yeah,
very interesting.
So I know earlier on in the podcast we talked about your guys' trip to Egypt a lot.
Yeah.
And you were just mentioning how you guys get to do a lot of fun things together. What other fun things have you guys gotten around to doing? Like, it doesn't have to be something on the grand scheme of going to Egypt or anything like that. Just what kind of extraordinary things have you and Sarah done?
So when our relationship first started, like, I had never been to White Sands, or I'd been to Las Cruces, but on a mariachi conference, just nothing. Take it back a little bit further. I grew up really poor, really, really fucking poor. We had 6 people living in a camper at one point, so we didn't have money to go do things. It wasn't. I don't blame my parents for not taking us on extravagant trips or anything like that. They did the best they could. My uncles and aunts in California helped get us out there to take us to Disneyland when we were little, but that's like the only thing we ever did. So travel and all these exotic places and all these places, even locally, were not something that we practiced or ever were capable of taking advantage of. But so when Sarah found out I had never been to White Sands, when I was off on a weekend, she surprised me and just said, get in the car, we're going to White Sands, and she took me. So we did that. Recently we went to Carlsbad Caverns, which you stayed here and watched the dogs graciously for us, and I filmed it, so it'll be on my other channel, Master of None. Go subscribe and check that out too if you haven't. What else have we done? We're planning some other trips. I don't know, putting me on the spot like this. We've done a fuckload. Like, dude, we've been together forever. Like, we got together in late 2008 and got married in 2015. So like we've built this entire big old long life together. So like we've done a lot of first time things. Like, she was with me when I was scared of flying. Is still with me now that I'm a fucking nerd. She was with me.
You're an air geek, yep.
She was with me before I made any money and was just poor as fuck. And now we're comfortable. I don't know. We've done a lot of extraordinary shit together.
Well, so how was that trip to White Sands? You'd never been before.
No, it was crazy.
Your wife surprised you out of nowhere with this trip.
Yeah, she just like, get in the car, we're going. And I was like, where are we going? She wouldn't tell me at first. And then like, as we got close, she was like, yeah, we're going to White Sands. I was like, oh shit.
That's kind of a crazy secret to keep, because White Sands is quite a ways away.
Well, I trusted her. I'm not going to like just hop into a car with somebody who says, hey, get in the car, we're going somewhere. Where the fuck are we going? Like, I got shit to do, player.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was really cool. It's a very unique experience going to White Sands. If you've never been there, you should go. It's really cool. It's like I don't know if you know the feeling, but when you go outside and you see nothing but white, it's just an assumption of cold and snow. It's
Yeah.
a relation in your brain. But then you get out of the car and it's fucking hot,
Yep.
and it's like really comfortable, and you're like, this is so fucking like bizarre. My brain is twisting itself up trying to figure out why it's so warm when there's so much white around here. Like it's crazy. But yeah, it was a really cool experience, really cool place. A fun trip down there. We took the little mobile hookah and smoked the hookah in the car on the way down there, and yeah, that was cool.
Did you guys get to do any sledding in the sand?
No, we kind of just walked around for a little while, took some pictures, and just sat in the sand and felt it, and I don't know, kind of lived in the moment, sort of hippie style, you know.
I know you're a bit of a foodie, just like me, and
Love food.
So one of the issues, well, I guess it's not really an issue, but one of the things that you can't enjoy quite as much as others, for various reasons, which we can even possibly get into.
Sure.
You know, there's quite a few different burger spots on the way between Rio Rancho and White Sands.
Is there?
Yeah, and
well, obviously we didn't take any advantage of
right.
those.
So I guess that's kind of where I was going. Is, you know, you're a foodie, so what sort of restaurants have you guys come across in your guys' travels?
Oh God, you know what was really interesting to that note is that when we went to Egypt, because we're vegetarian, borderline vegan, it was so easy to eat because everywhere, like the majority of their diet already is vegan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they grow so many fresh fruits and vegetables there that they make all these dishes that are just naturally already vegan. It's kind of like a luxury to eat meat there. So that's like this whole other, like, it was super convenient. But yeah, there's a lot of restaurants that we were meat eaters up until, I don't know, 2013, 2014.
Okay.
So, you know, we ate at all the places that everybody goes to, all the typical, like, big spots and whatnot. We did Bobcat Bite in Santa Fe when we lived there. We've done Horseman's a couple times. We, you know, just, I don't know. There's nowhere that we shied away from. And actually, that's a very interesting point, too, because when I first met Sarah, she was very, very, the word's escaping me right now, but very, like, against trying new things, very set in her ways. Yeah. She was like, I just want chicken nuggets. That's all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of an attitude. Very unopen to trying new stuff. And over time, she kind of just herself. And as I think I can thank her culinary degree a lot for that, because as she got further in the program, she opened up to trying more things. Bro, when I first met her, the word broccoli would make her throw up. She absolutely loathed it with every beat of her heart and part of her being, and now she fucking loves broccoli.
And she still hates vegetables to this day.
She does.
Yeah.
She's a terrible vegetarian.
But let's talk about that for a second. You said you guys used to eat meat back in 2013.
And before, yeah.
And before. So what sort of things happened in your life? What changed? What made you guys change your diet?
Okay, so when Sarah was doing her culinary program, she had to do a report or something like that. And this is not my story to tell. I'm just going to give you the highlights. But she did a report and then did a deep dive into the meat industry and whatnot. And that totally fucked her up. And she was like, I don't want to participate in this. I don't want to contribute to that, you know, that whatever it is, that industry.
Yeah.
And so she said she was going vegan. Or vegetarian at least. And she said, you don't have to. This is just a choice I'm making, and I'm going to do it. It's up to you if you want to join me or not. And I was like, meh, you know, I can't do that. Like, I easily could because of how much I love vegetables, but I also like burgers, and I liked my birthday filet mignon, and I'm fucking huge on seafood and whatnot. And dude, the seafood dishes she would make me, and just like, you know, it's really hard to switch from that kind of a lifestyle to a vegan lifestyle when your wife makes these incredible dishes that make you not want to. But anyway, over time, I felt bad, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of a what is it called?
You're gonna try eating.
I'm gonna give a little. What is that word? God, I can't words today. Anyway, compromise.
Yeah.
I was like, my compromise to you being vegetarian is I'm gonna eat more ethically sustainable meats. And,
right.
You know, something where the animal is slaughtered quickly and painlessly, and not in a fucking barn full of their shit. And So I started eating more locally, more sustainable, more humane, I guess, if that's a thing, meats. And that was a huge improvement on the quality of food I was eating, which was fantastic. But then over time, I would watch these dishes that Sarah was making for herself, and I was like, let me try that. And so I started trying the dishes she was making, and I was like, dude, I like that more than what I'm eating now. So one day I just made the conscious decision. I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore either. I'm going to eat what you eat. And so I started slowly eating her dishes, and I kind of just immediately stopped eating meats, and I haven't looked back. I don't have any regrets. I love it. I love my diet, and I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad or put anybody down. Your diet is your choice, but like I feel really good about the choices I make. So
Well, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's good food. I don't have any complaints about what I eat.
I mean, I'm still an avid meat eater. I love eating meat. I was just talking about burgers and stuff like that,
Sure.
but you talk about the dishes that your wife makes looking so delicious. I remember that my wife and I came over the first time that we came to your guys' house, and your wife was making some ratatouille for us.
Ratatouille.
And that dish that she made for us was...
Bro, and she didn't skimp on
pristine.
that. She fucking... That was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours of...
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay would have rated this thing very,
That's too
very
funny.
high ratings. But you were talking about how the food that she makes just looks so good. Not only does it look good, it really tastes good.
Yeah,
too.
no, it really is.
Not that I'm about to run out and change my diet.
Well, and I was going to say, I can't, like... It's not always easy. I do miss my filet mignon that I used to get every year for my birthday. We'd go to a Tep and Grill, and that's what I'd get. I did absolutely love seafood. I loved sushi. I loved ceviche, stuff like that. And so, it is challenging sometimes, and I kind of wish the vegan food, fake meat industry would move forward faster so I could get all of those substitutes and kind of go back to more of a normalcy of what I used to eat. But I also, I don't miss it enough that I'm willing to endanger or harm an animal for it. So, and that's just my personal choice. Again, I'm not trying to push my diet on anybody, and to each their own.
Well, and that's such a powerful thing, right? Your belief, right? That not to say that you're wrong or anything like that, but
How dare you?
how dare? No, but to quit cold turkey, if you will, on meat like that, that's a huge change.
It's for me. It wasn't because I was a terrible meat eater to begin with. Like I don't like fat. Very particular about how steaks were cooked. Very particular about how chicken tasted. I was so fucking picky that it wasn't like the only thing I wasn't picky about really was fish.
Gotcha.
So I mean, it wasn't a huge dramatic change for me. I'm not a prime example of some. People shouldn't look up to what I did because I was already a bad meat eater to begin with. So.
Well, I mean, we have another coworker that is a straight vegan, and he for his choices, kind of similar to yours, decided to stop, eating meat altogether.
Yeah.
And it's just a very powerful will system that you have. You have a very strong will.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's not as strong as John or our coworkers, but I mean, I appreciate that. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm currently in the process of trying to convince myself to stop eating out as much, and just the convenience of it and everything like that.
That takes a lot too.
Yeah.
But I think what you're going to find when you get to the point where you're cooking at home more is that you're saving a fucking fortune.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's a significant savings. Like my old coworker did the same thing. Him and his wife ate out every single night because neither one of them cooked. And they stopped doing that and cut it down to once a week. And, bro, the savings that they had was fucking significant. It was in the high hundreds or low thousands per month that they were saving just on not eating out. It's crazy.
And then they can take that money and go do things like fun trips to Egypt.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about some more of your hobbies.
It's more of my hobbies. Dude, I've got sort of a problem when it comes to hobbies because I'll discover something new, I'll get fucking balls deep into it, and then, I lose interest.
They call that ADHD, just in case you didn't know.
Okay, well, I fucking apparently have ADHD because then I'll and it's not that I lose interest. It's that I'll discover something else, and I'm like, ooh, and I'll get balls deep into that, and then I'll discover something else, and so like I have this trail of hobbies dragging behind me that I'm like, no, I don't want to give that up, but I also want to try this now, and
Yeah, that's just not my thing right now, but I'm going to come back
right.
to it. Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of it, I have a stamp collection, I have a Pokemon collection, card collection. I'm sorry, I have. I play disc golf, as you know. We went disc golfing this morning. I work on cars. I have a fucking bad car audio collection and a passion for that. I do those little, what are those things called? The machine in my display case there. Those
The Scorpion?
the metal things.
Oh, metal. Oh, these. Yeah. Those
I
things,
build
yeah.
those things. I make scorpions with scrap wire. I collect bobbleheads. I have a problem collecting things. My fucking pennies from my travels, smash pennies.
The readers and the listeners and the viewers can't really see it, but you also have a plethora of movie posters that are around your house too. So
Yeah, not to mention old Baymax in the toy box garage.
yeah, until I steal it, but
It's not gonna happen. Then my obvious hobbies came on abroad when I was like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, and so I started buying camera equipment and filming equipment and lights and stands and it just never ends, man. I have way too many hobbies, and I'm trying to wean myself off of some of them and just make it a smaller hobby base, but
it's hard.
it's very hard. I get sentimental attachments to shit and then have a hard time getting rid of it. I also have this mindset that everything's going to be worth a fortune if I just hang on to it long enough, and so I don't want to get rid of anything. And then the problem with my stamp collection, I'd gladly get rid of it. I was given it to, that's a really cool story. I was given to it was all given to me by an old boss of mine who, there's a book about him, and he's a really interesting guy, and he was one of the biggest stamp collectors there is ever.
That's cool.
He had this multi-million-dollar stamp collection, and he would bring me new stamps every morning, and then he started bringing me books, and he started buying me price guides, and all fucking nicest guy ever. Rest in peace, Eddie Gilbert. Amazing man. But yeah, so the problem with that is I need to get it appraised. There's no appraisers locally or anywhere nearby. There's one in Scottsdale, but I'm gonna have to drag my stamps all the way down there, and and then I'm gonna have to have the time to stay there. He said it's gonna take him about a week to go through my stuff, and so, and then it's hard because you got to know who you can and can't trust. If somebody's gonna shiest you on your stamps, like my collection is many volumes and loose stamps, everything from the Dominican Republic, from the late 1800s all the way till they no longer made stamps.
Oh wow, okay.
So I've got this massive collection, pristine condition stamps that he gave me. So
yeah,
I would part ways with that if I could find a proper. I'm also not going to shortchange myself on that. That not only has sentimental value to me because this man took it out of the kindness of his heart to give me all that stuff, but also there is financial value in it too. It's actually worth something. So, problems. I have way too many hobbies, and I need to loosen the reins on some and just focus on the ones that are most important to me.
Yeah, but some of those hobbies have actually made you quite beneficial to your friends. Not to say that they take advantage of you.
No.
But tell us about some of the times that you've helped folks with their cars and their car issues.
Well, it's beyond that. I kind of have a problem with that too. It started when I worked at Pet Boys and for O'Reilly's, because people have these ideas in their head of how things work, and they'd come in trying to buy things that wouldn't correct what they were trying to correct, and so I'd have to explain to them how the system works, and then I'd have to be like, you know what, let me just go show you, and I'd go outside. I remember at O'Reilly when
you were the worst employee of those stores ever.
Terrible. I remember when I worked at O'Reilly, one day this couple was traveling across the country, and they came in and described the problems they were having. I said, oh, it's your alternator. I fucking guarantee you it's their alternator. And the guy's like, okay, do you have a recommendation of where I can get one put in? And I said, you know what, you buy it right now, I'll go put it in your car right now. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. So fucking sold it to him, went outside in the parking lot. In 15 minutes, I had him back on the road with, a working car. So I had problems like that. But then I found out that the people I care about, I can help them with save a little bit of money. And again, this is not for self-gratification or anything. It genuinely makes me feel good when I can help somebody that I care about save some money. And even people I don't know. There was a time when I was building police cars that two of my friends and I started like a little side company because to help with the theft problem here in Albuquerque, the auto theft. I started advertising on Facebook and a couple other places that we would install an anti-theft device for $80. Because not everybody can go out and spend $200 on an alarm and then another $150 to get it installed. So I started putting kill switches, fuel cutoff switches, and starter kill switches in these people's cars, and I would hide them in a place that only I, as the installer, and they, as the owner of the car, knew where it was. So anybody else who tried to steal that car, even if they had a good knowledge base of electronics, would have to trace down these wires to find where the switch was so they can reconnect it or switch it. And so that went on for a little while, but over time people would ask, oh, do you have a recommendation for where I can get this done or how I can get this done? And I'd be like, well, I've dabbled in it. I can probably do that for you. And so that just led to another hobby, I guess, of helping people and taking more of my time, which again, I don't mind because it actually made me feel really good at the end of the day that I helped these people save a significant amount of money and a significant amount of time, and their problem was solved. So
it's altruism at its finest.
Cool. Appreciate it. I'm good with it. So
you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, but that's not always the benefits aren't always well received, right? Like some individuals will just kind of take advantage and just run with it.
I can't speak on that because I don't know what the driving force behind the times are, but I know that I've played my part and it makes me feel good knowing that, even if the whole reasoning behind it didn't work out. That's okay with me. Like I did my part, and if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. And actually Sarah is the driving force behind our recent adventures into helping people that didn't work out, and it's nothing on her, nothing on me. We did our part. It just wasn't what these other people were expecting, and that's okay. No problem. It's not like we screwed ourselves.
Maybe on the next one we can talk about those, but I know you don't necessarily want to get into that right now. So
well, it's not that I don't want to get into it. The people we're trying to help are young. They're figuring shit out. They don't know what they want or what they need or what's the best for them yet, and that's okay. Let them learn. If they don't want to take our advice or our way, then I'm not going to force anybody to. Basically, I'll give the long and short of it was we tried to help. I really shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So, that good feeling that you get from helping people, I know that feeling. I'm not as...
You're a very generous person, so I
try my hardest.
I 100% believe that you know that.
There are some individuals out there who I have taken a chance on and very different from yourself. I have... been burned by.
That's okay.
And I no longer talk to those individuals, but
I get it. I get not talking to them, but also that's their problems. That has no bearing on you. You went above and beyond, and you should still feel good about your part. And I mean, I get not talking to them because I know your situation. I know what you're talking about, and that if somebody's going to burn you and then be a dick to you about it, then fucking stop talking to them.
Yeah, no, I think, I guess where I was going at with that is that, not everybody is appreciative of the things that we do for them, but that feeling that you get is...
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's absolutely worth it. I wouldn't change anybody that I've helped, any situation. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. That's okay. Like, I walked away... Even if only for myself, knowing that I was the bigger person, I'm fine with that. And it doesn't even have to come down to being a bigger person. I did something nice for another human being, and that makes me feel good about myself. And I know that this is going to lead me into a really good story. When I was a little kid...
That's what we're all about here at Ordinary Joe's.
Whoa, did you see how that happened? That was crazy. When I was a little kid... I was in first grade, I believe. We lived in a small town up northern New Mexico, and I remember getting on the bus one day and going to school, and after school, got on the bus to head home, and we saw a giant plume of smoke up on the hill where I lived. That's weird. So, as the bus came closer and closer, turns out it was my fucking house burning down.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So, I remember just bursting into tears on the bus, and there was this girl. I wasn't real familiar with her. We weren't like good friends or anything. I just knew her from riding the bus. We were bus friends. I get bus buddies. And I remember telling her, or her telling me, it's okay, it'll be okay, like, all of the material shit can be replaced, just as long as your family's okay, it'll be okay.
In first grade.
She was, I think, in second or third, but yeah, she was
Even
very
still,
mature.
dang,
I was
yeah.
very impressed, but...
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, I don't give a fuck what any of you guys are saying. That's my fucking house
course,
on
yeah.
fire, and and I don't know where my mom is. I don't know where my little brothers are. I don't know where my dad is. Like, this is fucking horrible. So I'm sitting here crying, and this girl is trying to comfort me, and this little asshole, who also rode the bus with us, he says, "I don't care what happens to your shit. I'm not giving you anything. We're not going to give you nothing." And I was like,
dick.
I didn't ask for anything, you fuckface. Like, fuck off. That's the first thing your mind goes to, is that I'm going to be out here begging for charity. What a fucking prick. And, okay, we're in first grade. Like, we're just little kids. But I just thought that, like, the contrast in what this girl was telling me and how that made me feel to what this kid was telling me and how that made me feel was like, I don't ever want to be this kid. I don't ever want to make people feel less than. I don't want to make people feel alone or I don't want to make them feel bad. I don't want to be a negative Nancy. It was sort of that really sunk in with me, that I want to be like this girl who didn't really know me very well, but all she cared about, that I was sitting here crying, sad, scared, not knowing what was going on, and all she wanted to do was help me feel better.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking awesome. What a cool thing to do. And I wish I knew her name or anything about her, because I would thank her like to the stars, because that was a really nice thing to do for somebody like in such a scary position.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pulled up to the house, and there was cops and fire department and everybody there, and they're like, move it on. You can't, I don't care if this is his stop, you can't get out here. The fucking house is burning down.
And that's always the worst, too.
So they sent me down to the next bus stop and made me get off there, and I spent a couple hours in a house with people and kids I didn't know, waiting for my mom to show up or my dad, and they finally showed up, and from there it was just that's kind of how we ended up in a little camper. There was 5 of us at that time. My youngest brother hadn't come along yet, but we lived in the camper and followed the horse races around, because my dad was a horse trainer, and but yeah, it was, there was some generous people who tried to help us. This happened right before Christmas, like a couple days before Christmas. Like our Christmas tree went up, all the presents my parents had bought us. It's wild, and it was an adobe house, so it's crazy that it burned down. But I guess the story is my mom put wood chips into the fireplace, and they popped and cracked, I guess, on their way up to the roof, and one landed on the roof and caught the roof on fire, which is weird because it was a tin roof too.
Yeah.
But it burnt through what was our attic space, and burnt down from there.
Once it was inside, it was all...
And I think the saddest thing for me is after... the shit made me so sad when I thought about it later as an adult, but I had a pet turtle in the house, and once my mom realized the house was on fire, she grabbed my brothers and booked it out the house, and we didn't have a phone, so she ran to the neighbors, which was like a mile away, to go use their phone to call the fire department. But yeah, after all was said and done, it was safe to go in the house. We went in, and yeah, I found my turtle. It was fucking sad. It made me so fucking sad. So I really do love turtles. Like, I know I joke about that and say that a lot, but I do. I have a soft spot in my heart for turtles, because that was my little box turtle, and he was cool. I fed him lettuce. I remember that from being a kid. But
that is a fear, not about turtles catching on fire, but my pets at home. That is a fear I have on the daily.
Yeah, no, I still think about it.
Yeah.
There's these stickers you can get online, and you put them on your door, and it says I have X amount of pets, and they're 5 dogs and 3 fish or whatever, and that way if the worst happens, the fire department knows what they're looking for.
Yeah. Although, let's be honest, the fire department's only there to save the people.
Yeah, well, let's just hope that changes, because
Well, yeah,
pets are family too.
they absolutely are. That's a topic I want to talk about.
Sure.
We've recently had a coworker, and I'm not going to name any names. I'm not. I don't even really hold this against the coworker, but more so, I guess, the company. We had a coworker recently who just got back from maternity leave for a baby that she adopted.
Wait. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, so they call it bonding time, and
Okay.
and it makes sense, right? Like if you adopt a new kid, you're gonna need that time.
Okay.
to bring
Yeah, I
them into
can
the
see
family,
that. I
everything
can
like
see that. But maternity leaves.
My argument though is that for the same reason, why don't we get bonding time for our pets?
That's 100%, dude.
Yeah.
We don't get grieving time. We don't get any of that.
I don't
It's
get
like
any of that. It's all personal time. You have
It's
to
very
take for
sad that
stuff.
our society is moving so. We've advanced so much with the what we can and can't do with our pets. Like taking them with us on trips and taking them to restaurants and stuff. We've moved so far along that people are starting to understand and appreciate that. But in other ways, they're like, no, that's just a fucking dog, and I'm like, the fuck it is. I'll pick my dog over you any day. Like,
Yeah.
I try to pride myself on being a good person and being, a generous guy and understanding. But when it comes to my dogs, they are my kids. I'm not gonna have kids.
Yeah.
That's a scientific fact. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I will fight you in the front yard about my dogs. Yep.
Yeah, facts, man.
Yep.
I love my dogs. They don't ever judge you. They make you feel good when you come home. If you're sitting there sad, they're gonna sit by you, and they're not gonna ever leave your side.
Aside from our spouses, our pets are the one thing that we will always be able to console on.
Oh, facts.
Yep.
100%. And I appreciate you saying that, because yeah, that's a good topic. The society as a whole needs to respect the sanctity of family, even if it's in the form of animals, as much as they do with kids.
Yeah, and
not only do some of us choose not to have children, but some of us are physically incapable of having kids.
yeah,
Which it's a very discriminatory feeling when your company is saying, I don't give a fuck that you can't have kids, but these people who do have kids, they get bonus stuff.
well, even homeless people, right? The beggars on the street corners, things like that. Even those guys have an animal for
They
companionship.
take the fuck good care of their animals. Like, it's crazy that you see some of these homeless people with these beautiful dogs that they're just loved and taken care of. That's their best friend. That's their only reason for living. And you've got people out here who ignore, neglect, kick out dogs.
Yep.
Oh, I need to rehome this dog. It grew up. I don't want it anymore.
Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, you fucking prick.
The dog doesn't get along with the kid.
Oh, no, fuck all that. I don't give a fuck. I need to find a home for this kid. Like, it doesn't get along with my dog.
Yeah. There's a commercial that's going around for the farmer's dog food that I know you guys give to your guys' dog every now and then, and or not every now and then, every day.
Oh, yeah, I know the commercials you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's several of them.
There's this lady looking in the fridge, and she's like,
That's weird.
That's dog food in the fridge. And the next scene is like the guy sitting on the couch with his dog, and the girl taking a taxi home or something like that.
She's like, I didn't want her here anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not to disparage anybody who's having kids. If that's your thing, great, do it. Like, I have nieces and nephews. That's fine. But for myself and my wife, we chose not to have kids, and then found out later that it wasn't possible anyway. But as insurance, I went and got the fixing surgery, so there's no scares, no health issues with a possible unwanted pregnancy or anything like that. So
and I know we talked about it a little bit on my episode too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
it's to each their own.
Respect should go both ways.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I don't have a problem with people having their kids. Like, as long as your kids aren't fucking screaming in my ear or doing inappropriate behavior around me, like grabbing on my shit and breaking it. Like,
kids
cool.
Kids running. Look, people letting their kids run like freaking little crazy animals around the restaurants.
That's not to
say
or the movie theater.
Yeah,
that's not to say that everybody's like that. But I feel like this is a problem with. Maybe it started with my generation, but got worse as generations continued. That people are like, "Oh, that's my baby." I'm not going to spank my baby. I'm not going to tell my baby what to do. I like to let him be free. Okay, cool, but you got to set boundaries too.
Yeah.
And again, I don't have a problem with any of If you want to be mad at me and not listen to my podcast because that's the way I feel about kids, that's fine. I get it. Some people don't like the fact that I'm not going to have kids, and people talk shit about it, but to each their own, you know. I choose this lifestyle. It makes me happy. I'm comfortable with it. On top of that, it saves me and my wife a lot of money, and we are able to do the things we do and enjoy our life the way it is because we don't have to have that extra expense. Kids are fucking expensive.
Kids are.
And recently, Sarah's run into that in conversation with people who at her work who have kids, and talking about the school supplies that they have to buy every year, and that only increases in value every year. And
well, and that's another issue too, right? Because we can go on forever about
this
that
can
one.
this can just.
But the fact that teachers are having to reach out and ask the parents to buy school supplies
because the school doesn't do it anymore.
These parents are so incredulous. Like I see videos all the time about like parents that are like, the fuck I am going to buy markers for my kid to share with all the rest of those little shits.
And beyond, but it's gotten out of control. Like I'm kind of on the parents' side on some of this shit because now they're having to buy toilet papers for the bathrooms at the school. They're having to buy paper towels for the bathrooms. I'm like, bro, that is a building. What do these kids have to do with the building other than they're in there? Like that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not right. It shouldn't be that way. And okay, I mean we're gonna go fucking black hole if we talk into that one. But yeah, so I mean, all respect to you if you have a kid, but if you don't like the fact that I don't have kids and don't want kids, then I mean that's your it sounds like a you problem, and you don't have to watch my channel or listen to the podcast. Nobody's forcing you. I appreciate the viewership and listenership, but we don't have to see eye to eye for us to enjoy each other's company. I've never felt that way. So
that aside, back to the hobby conversation.
Yeah, hobbies. Sorry.
One of the things that I know about you, because we've been hanging out for a while, you're a mariachi. And not only
am I really? Holy shit!
Not only are you a mariachi, but you have actually played a mariachi in a movie.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
that was recent. He's referring to the movie Robots with Jack Whitehall and Shailene Woodley, who, by the way, are fucking really nice people. Really, not both of them, just super, super generous. Not your typical A-list celebrity who wouldn't give people the time of the day. Not that I know any of those. I can't say anything about any celebrity because I don't know many. But Jack Whitehall took pictures of me in the group, and somebody commented that I was the Mexican version of him on his Facebook. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, he approached us after the scene that we filmed and asked if he could take the picture. So that was really cool. And Shailene Woodley, when she walked onto set, was like super generous and just asking us like, "Are you guys okay? Is everybody treating you all right? Are you having fun? Is there anything we can get you?" And we're like, "What the fuck?" Like,
yeah, you're the star here. What do you mean?
That was really nice of you, but cool. But yeah, I that was a really cool opportunity I got, and it's it's like a lot of things in life. It's kind of who you know. So the director of my mariachi group was unable to play that day and said, "Hey, we need a third person. Do you want to do this?" And I said, "Fuck yeah, I want to do this." So we went down to the bowling alley somewhere there in Albuquerque, and they filmed a scene with us where we're playing for Jack Whitehall and Shailene at their table, and Jack gets up and takes over the trumpet for my trumpet player. But yeah, we were actually playing, and
they swapped spit.
No. they didn't even they used the same trumpet, but they swapped. The way he stood up, he turned around and put his mouthpiece in, and she took hers out, and then she picked up another trumpet and played standing behind him off camera. To make it look like he was playing. He was playing. But it was really cool because he's really professional. Before we shot the scene, he pulled her to the side and was like, "Show me how it looks when you play. What is my face going to look like? What do I do with my fingers?" Like he.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he was very professional about it.
He was giving credit where it was due to the trumpet player. He wanted it to look authentic.
Yeah. So, and that was a really fun experience. We shot the thing probably 5 times in a row, and then they had us play the audio about 20 times till my trumpet player could no longer blow, and my fucking fingers were sore. But yeah, then they took the best audio, laid it over the video, and we're in the movie.
Yeah,
and it's pretty cool because it's like all up in our face. But there was I do have some complaints about that real quick.
Well, lay 'em on.
In the email that they sent to us, they said, show up to set with no makeup on and don't do your hair. We're going to do those on set. So we got there, we sat down at a table waiting for somebody to come over, and they're like, yeah, we're going to come do your hair and your makeup in a little bit. Cool. So we just sat there, and then suddenly somebody walks up to the table and says, okay, it's time to shoot your scene. We're up. My hair was a fucking mess and all this shit, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. I kind of just, ran my fingers through it the best I could to make it flat. And then we got on set. They set us up where they wanted us to be, and the director said, okay, you guys are playing specifically for their table, but I don't want you looking at them because then we'd be looking away from the camera. And he said, I don't want you to look at the camera. I want you kind of look straight ahead like there's this big audience in front of you and you're just playing to those people. You don't need to be smiley. You don't have emotion on your face. You're just there to play. And I said, cool. So I followed that instruction. And if you see my face in the scene,
he followed it.
I'm fucking no expression on my face whatsoever. I'm just playing, but
you got the Terminator up there with the guitar.
My guitar player, he's a funny guy, man. I love that guy. I'm telling you, he was over there fucking rocking out with his cock out, just kind of jamming, looking around, smiling, and I was like, well, fuck, dude, his came out way better than my look. I look like I'm fucking just standing there, like, not responding to anything. I like the way he came out better than the way I came out on it, but, it is what it is. To each their own.
Well, that's again another topic that we could spend far too long on.
Yeah.
That's.
But overall, it was a really fun experience, and I liked. It was really cool seeing myself on the big screen. Like,
yeah,
that's always been a dream of mine. I would love to be in a movie.
And you've been an extra in a few other movies. Was that after or before?
So that kicked off this whole thing. That was like another fucking ADHD hobby thing. I was like, oh, this is fun. I should do this again. So I fucking looked into it.
But that one paid, so...
No, all of them paid.
Yeah, but that hobby...
Oh, yeah, it made me money, yeah. So after that, I came home and joined a couple Facebook groups that we talked to the extras about. And so then I was an extra in Flamin' Hot. I mean, only my elbow clapping made it into the movie, but that was cool. And then, interesting story on that, too. The assistant director for Flamin' Hot, they put me near this counter where none of the cameras could see me. There was a balcony in front of me and a bunch of people standing on that balcony. You would have never been able to see me at all, not even a piece of me. The assistant director came down and said, hey, come here. And he grabbed me and he moved me and stood me by Dennis Haysbert. So that was pretty cool. I was standing probably 2 people away from him, like almost next to him. And but again, I was so far to the left of the cameras now that only my elbow made it into the screen. And actually, they kind of zoomed it in. Had they left the zoom out, you would have seen all of me. But
you went from not being in the scene at all to having your elbow in, man.
And that was fine. And then we filmed another. That was a really long day on that set because then later that night we filmed in the cafeteria these other shots where I was a background extra, just walking through the background. And but that didn't make it into the film. They cut a lot of what we filmed there out. But then, so I was like, cool, I'm loving this. I'm going to do another one. So I signed up for one in Espanola with Jessica Alba, and the movie's on Netflix now, and it's called Trigger Warning. And I was a sheriff's deputy, and 2 of the 3 scenes I was in, they cut out. But, no, one of them, they just cut it short, so I walked past the office when her and our lead sheriff were talking, but you didn't see me because they cut it short. And then the only scene that I was in that made it in the movie is I'm standing in the background while she's walking along a chain link fence, and me and my buddy were standing there talking to each other.
And the silhouette of you looks like Garth from Supernatural.
I think so, but we had this big long where you gave me a hard time about it, but yeah.
I gotta give you
I'm just a tall, lanky, goofy looking dude in that scene with a cowboy hat on, so... But yeah, it was a really cool experience. Way a lot of fun. If you've never signed up to be in a background or an extra in a movie, I mean, New Mexico's film industry is booming, so you should try that too because it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, Netflix is filming a ton of things out here nowadays.
And they're long days, and a lot of it is just sitting there waiting and being quiet. But I mean, you have your phone, you just fuck around on your phone. So
yep.
But it's really cool, and they pay you, it's like $100 for 8 hours or $150 for 8 hours, depending on what the background acting is. So.
And you never know, you could be the next James Bond.
James Bond? Dang,
yeah.
I could be James Bond?
You can be James Bond.
Dang, that's cool. I wouldn't mind.
So, mariachi.
Mariachi.
Do you still play actively?
I don't play actively. I don't see. So I played with that group regularly. I was their guitarron player consistently for years. But when Sarah and I moved down here in 2014, the majority of that group lives up in Pecos.
Okay.
And they would meet in Santa Fe because a few people live in Santa Fe, so that would be our central ground for practice. And I was like, bro, I don't have the time to go to work all day, get out of work, drive to Santa Fe for mariachi practice, and then drive home. So
Right.
I kind of said, well, if you need me, I'll be a backup for you anytime, but I can't do practices regularly, so I'm gonna have to gracefully bow out. And they were okay with it. They'll still call me if they have something going on down here and need a guitarron player, or if they're it's a last minute thing and they have an emergency that their guitarron player can't show up or whatever. Like, for instance, not too long ago they had a birthday party in Espanola, and they were playing from 5 to 7:30 or 8 at night, and I told him I don't get out of work until 6, bro. Like, I can't make it. And he's like, dude, well, we don't have a guitarron player otherwise, so if you can show up, we'll pay you for your time. I was like, cool, yeah, I'll be there. So I showed up. They fed me what I could eat, and I played for an hour and a half, and they paid me, and I went about my business. So yeah, they're good guys. Love them to a T. They're mariachi diferencia, like different, but encia at the end. On Facebook, I'm sure you can find them on YouTube too. They're great musicians and cool bunch of people.
So how did you learn to play the guitarron? What sparked the interest on that one?
When I was a freshman in high school, our high school would put on a guitar concert every year. And, as a student, you would pay like $2 or something, get in, and you'd get out of a class or two while this concert went on in the auditorium. And it initially started that, I fucking want to get out of class today. I'm going to go to this guitar concert. But then I saw peers of mine, people who I respected, who I never knew played an instrument, up there rocking out hard as fuck. And I was like, this is some cool ass shit. So the next semester I signed up for guitar class and took a guitar class every year after that. But one day my guitar teacher shows up to class and he's got a guitarron with him, and I was like, what the fuck is this? So I opened it up and pulled it out, and I was like, this is a big ass guitar, what the fuck do you guys do with this? And he's like, no, that's a mariachi, that instrument, that's a guitarron, it's a bass instrument. So I was fucking around with it, and he's like,
Slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass, I slapping the bass. So he was like, do this for me real quick, and told me how to play a chord, and he's like, no, now do this, and he gave me a couple of other chords to play, and he's like, you're gonna be my guitarron player. And I was like, oh, all right, cool, I ain't got nothing going on, let's do this. So
That sounds like fire bars, man.
it was fire bars.
Yeah.
So then he got a little group of us together he combined some high school students with the middle school students, and we formed a big group, and then he took us to play for the school board, and they enjoyed our performance so much they bought us uniforms, which were not fucking cheap. They bought us a couple instruments, and then sent us on trips all over the place.
Yeah.
So we got to go to Las Cruces for a conference. We went to Tucson for a conference. We went to one in Santa Fe. Just all over the place, conferences, and they paid for everything: hotel, bus fare, all this stuff. So it was a really cool thing that I got into, and I'm glad I did it. My musical taste is all over the fucking place. The only thing I don't really fuck with is modern country, but anything else I'm pretty good. Even 90s country, there's a lot of songs that I mess with, but yeah, mariachi just became a big part of my life, and took a lot of time away from me in high school because practices were every day for hours on end, but overall it's a cool I guess hobby to have, and it's a cool skill to have because people don't ever expect it,
And it led to your movie career.
It put me up on the big screen, so I'm thankful for it. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's a really fun thing to do, and people, I'm not a typical not only am I not a typical mariachi, being white as can be, but I'm not a typical guitarron player, because most guitarron players you see they're short and stocky and fat and got big bellies that the guitarron rests on, and I don't got that. I mean, I'm working on it, but I'm not there yet. So
Hey, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you look like as long as you can string it right.
It's facts, because I brought a violin player in to the group when I was playing with them, because I worked with her husband at the time at Pep Boys, and we met up with them one night, Sarah and I, to have a couple drinks and just meet each other, hang out, whatnot. And we found out that she played violin, and I was like, oh, dude, like the mariachi group, we're always looking for violins. How long have you been playing? We went through all the motions, and she joined the group and is still in the group to this day. So
Nice.
but
nice.
she's whiter than me, so she's actually of German heritage.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, her and her dad fluently spoke German and shit like that. So she's not your
So-
typical either. So yeah,
maybe more on the classical violin side.
no, that's what she
Okay.
played. But
Okay.
but she dug the mariachi right away and fit right in. So yeah, she's still there with them today.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, it's very atypical. It's not it's very easy to get this picture of what a mariachi is in your head when you
Yeah.
think of it. But the truth is, there's a lot of people who don't look like your typical mariachi who just love it with a passion, and it's weird, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man.
Yeah, and there's one of my friends who I went in the first group that I was in high school. One of our old trumpet players lives here in Albuquerque, and he's one of the top installers for King Kong Customs.
Oh wow.
He
Okay.
does these elaborate car audio systems and fabrications, and he's a bad motherfucker. He was in a magazine for one of the installs he did a long time ago, and really cool. Just all these people from all these walks of life. He's no longer active, but there's a really cool background.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really cool to see where he ended up.
It's really, really cool. I mean, again, Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories.
Yeah, totally, dude. I should get that guy on here.
You should get that guy on here.
I need to get all the guys on here.
All of the guys, yeah.
I do want to say something. I know we're getting a little long in the tooth here, but I want to. Chase and I have spent the day today pretty much hanging out and recording podcasts and shit. It's been a lot of fun, and I would like you to sit in on any future interview that you're up for. I hate calling it interviews. Any conversation that I have in the future with any guest that is comfortable with it, I'd love for you to sit in as a co-host.
Yeah,
you and Sarah are pretty much the only two people who are welcome to any of these. But yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun today, and this is a lot of fun. So
yeah.
so I think you'd be a good addition to the crew.
Oh, well, that's cool, man.
Yeah, totally.
I gotta just make my schedule flow with yours.
Again, it's when you can, and no pressure if you can't do it, and I'm not gonna sweat it.
Well, once you start making the big dollars on it, I can quit my day job, and
'Kay.
this will be what we do.
Fucking deal.
We gotta do the movie first, though.
I gotta write a movie. I can't write movies, bro. I've tried. It's hard. Another fuking hobby I wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, you've already started them, so no, sorry,
Yeah.
you've been an extra. Now we're gonna bring you in as the star.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah.
Need to figure out how.
Yeah.
I should just call somebody up and be like, "Hey, looking for a star?" Because
Looking for a star, because here I am. Fire Bars.
Fire Bars, boom.
Fire Bars, the movie.
Oh, that's Fire Bars in itself. That's Fire Barception.
There you go. All right, man. Well, audience, this has been a great time. Little different change of pace. We had me interviewing
Yeah.
the Mr. James Brown, the official host of
Reverse places.
the podcast here.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll be around on more episodes. And
Good job. Thank you for doing this.
Hopefully you guys appreciate it. But James, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate
And,
it. It's a nice studio you got here.
Yeah, and
And that's a nice beard.
that's a nice beard. That's the reference. You guys got to go watch Master of None.
Yeah, go subscribe to all of my channels, as a matter of fact. Like, comment, subscribe on this video. Share it with your friends. Start a conversation down in the comments so we can get some community engagement happening. Go over to Master of None, MASTR, no E, dash of None. Master of None. That's my vlog channel. And then go to Toy Box Garage. That's TOY dash lowercase b, uppercase B, ox. Toy Box Garage. And there's a reason behind that. I'll talk about it later. But anyway, that's all garage stuff.
All right.
And tell your socials too.
I don't have really any social medias, but I'm looking forward to starting to help James out and get the word out on the podcast.
You have a TikTok. Don't fucking lie.
I might pick up some stuff on TikTok where I start sharing videos. I haven't shared anything yet, but
Okay, that'll be cool.
We're possibly gonna start sharing some videos of the podcast. So,
All right. Well, this has been another episode of
Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye. How long did we go?
This thing's only been filming for like an hour and 13.
Name it.
J Brown V2.
That'll work.
Cool.
Cool.
Not breaking your display.
Cool, that was awesome. Should probably stop all these cameras, huh?
It might help. Save the videos.